Hey residents of Meepletown, today we are taking on the role of Egyptian gods trying to gain the most devotion from our followers and really trying to phase out all of the other ones that get in our way.
What would you do if you woke up in the middle of the night and this guy was in your face?
I don't know, man. That's like the miniature or the actual thing?
Both.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
I think it would be scary no matter what.
I don't know, it's a weird pose, I think. But anyway, we're playing Ankh, so let's get to the table and check it out. Okay, here is the setup for Ankh. You got any wise
I'm just
cracks?
saying, you are so excited about this. You have been anticipating this game. Dean is sending me every tracking number that he's ever had that could possibly be related to this.
Yeah.
Saying,
and I even
is
have
this
the
player
game now.
mat? Is this that or this?
And I'm still doing
so
it.
excited. I mean, I was excited about it, but Dean's almost made me less excited about it because I'm tired of hearing about this game.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Okay.
All right. Here's the setup. Now, John mentioned that I was waiting my tracking number because I was a Kickstarter backer. This is actually just the retail version, so all the pieces you're looking at are ones that you're going to find in the regular game, cardboard pieces and all that, and all the monsters and everything else. John is taking on the role of Osiris, and I am going to be Amun.
Are you Osiris Clark?
There we go. I did that because I wanted you to go ahead and get all your jokes out of the way. All right, our object of the game is to move up this track.
If you think that's the end of my jokes, you thought wrong.
Maybe we can get some better jokes in there is what I was looking for. So if you reach the top of this devotion track, you will be the winner, and we're going to be doing that through battling each other in these different territories. Now, in the scenario
and building
book,
monuments, it's not all bloodbath.
Yeah, that's right. There's lots of stuff. So you have the scenario book in the box, and it's going to have 10 different scenarios. And this is a two-player only scenario, and in this one we block off this Nile Delta area up here. So nothing is going to go up here, which is why I put these monsters here so that we can show them a little bit better on camera. I am going to be the red player and John the green player. And basically we're going to be battling out once we reach this spot on the track, and we'll explain how that works as we get there. We're going to be taking our actions up here. John will explain that because he's the first one to go, and let's just jump into it. How about that?
And right now we start with 2 regions, and guess what? There's going to be a lot more by the time the game's
That's right. We'll have 5 regions.
Who knows? Okay.
I do 5 regions.
5, okay, that's fine,
4?
Dean. That's okay, Dean. That's fine. All right.
4?
You're going to drive me
bonkers.
Yeah. All right, so first thing I'm going to do now, what's interesting about this action track is if you take an action, then you can only take actions below it. So if I take the move figures, I can take any of these 3. If I decided to unlock my Ankh power first, guess what?
What?
Where are you going?
I need my coffee.
Okay. Then I can't do another action. Or if you hit the end of the track, your turn ends there as well. And this little thing gets set off and some cool things happen. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is I think I'm going to go ahead and summon another figure onto the board. Now I can summon it from a monument that I own next to one of my characters. So I can go down here. But I already have a couple guys in this region too. So I think I'm going to go ahead and summon right here next to that monument. Okay. How about that? Then I'm going to gain followers, and what I do there is I look at where my characters are, and then I'll look if they're standing next to monuments that I own or neutral ones. Now I only gain followers based on how many monuments, so I don't gain 2 because there's 2 guys next to this. So I'm going to gain 2 followers, and what you'll see as the game progresses, that noise is awful, isn't it?
What are they doing?
Sounds like someone's grinding human bones and flesh.
My goodness.
I'm trying to be thematic.
No, that's our thematic background music.
There's a lot of construction going on in Meepletown. So I'm going to gain 2 followers, which will help me unlock these folks and do some things as we battle with the cards. That's it.
That's it?
Boom.
All right, if you will go ahead, since I can't reach all the way over there, too far.
You want to move figures?
Yeah, no. I'm going to summon a figure.
Oh, there you go again.
All right, so I'm going to summon mine, actually pretty similar to what John did, I think.
You liked my move so much, you decided
that's right.
That,
Actually, I'm going to go here. Did you mention you can only have 1 thing in a space, so each hex is only going to hold on to 1 space. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep him up here so he'll be adjacent to there. And then you would think, hey, Dean's going to gain followers and do the same thing, right?
You thought my moves were like Jagger.
Yep,
I did not. And you wanted to do them.
I'm going to unlock Ankh power.
I thought about doing that.
unlock Ankh powers.
I have the power.
Say that. All right, so I did have to.
I was going to say that.
No, you have to say that. Is what I was saying. You have to
okay.
say something along those lines. All right, so I did. Again, we started off with one. We started off with one follower. I paid that one follower. The cost is listed right here. I'm going to take my Ankh token and place it on one of these spots here. Now, what this does is going to unlock a new power. Now, John and I each have our own special powers that our specific gods will have. But these Ankh powers on both boards, on all the boards, are exactly the same. It's just how you're going to unlock them that really matters. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it here. When you use the gain followers action, I'm going to gain an additional follower. And again, there's 4 of them there. And we'll explain what happens once you unlock more and more of these things as you go. But that is my turn. 2 turns, done.
Sweet. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move my figures because I'm looking here and I want to summon to set that off here in a second. Now, what I'm thinking about is whenever I set this off, I'm going to be able to gain a control of one of these monuments. So which one do I want to? I could go down here. I'm already next to it. I could go up here with this obelisk. Now, they're all going to have different powers as well as we begin to unlock these things. Or I could come over here and go ahead and unlock that. Now, the pyramid's power, it can help me summon more monsters. The thing is, though, my special ability, if I die in battle, allows me to set these hexes up and summon people from those as well. So I'm not sure I need to just keep, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I need that as bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move this figure here. I'm going to go ahead and move one over here just so I can be in position. But I think I'm going to do... Ooh, the obelisk, though. That's kind of in the corner down there. I don't know if I'm super excited about that. Man. I'm going to do this one. Okay. What am I doing? What's happening, John? I'm doing that because I will go here and set this ability off. So sorry. And that's it for my turn. So that's what this means right here. So we are 3 steps away from duking it out in an epic battle.
That's right. And I kind of set John up. There's a lot of strategy that goes along with this action board up here, because what I don't want to do is necessarily set John up with a ton of things.
But positively, well, never mind. I better be quiet.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the gain followers action.
And then you're going to do the Ankh power again, yeah.
Yeah, the problem is I set John up for gaining control of another area, and that's fine. It's going to happen. But anyway.
Oh, I didn't summon my figure. Oh my gosh. I was so excited about the extra bonus that I got that I didn't summon my figure. So this guy was here. This guy was over here. I'm just trying to think here. He's got 2 figures here, 2 figures over there. I'm going to just take the lead over here since I have these things. So I'm going to pretend. In fact, that guy, I'm just going to leave him here, and I'll just say that I summoned that one over there.
All right. And that's it. You had already taken it.
My bad. My B.
Okay, so I took the gain followers action. He's already moved it up. And then I'm going to gain followers 1, 2, 3. And then with my special ability, I'm going to gain an additional one, so I'll get 4.
It's pretty good.
And then with John already moved it up, but I'm going to use the unlock Ankh powers.
Unlock the powers.
So I'm going to have to spend one of those follower tokens. And followers in this game act a lot like currency, I guess. You know, they do different things other than just this, but they have a big part in, unlocking those things. So I will unlock this one. And the one I'm going to unlock is going to be called Inspiring, and that means that my monuments cost 0 to build. And I'll explain that once we get to that phase.
And you also get
a cat mummy.
The cat mummy.
That's right. It does not go out onto the map yet. I have to summon it out there. But if I'm able to get it out there, your cat mummy, if it's killed, all other players are going to lose 1 devotion. Ooh. Now, in a 2-player game, you're only going to have 1 of each of these. And so there is a race.
I better get on with it.
That's right. There's always a race anyway, even with more players. But in a 2-player game especially, there's only 1 of each of those. So it's really important. All right, so I did my Ankh power.
And I moved that for you, so you get to
I get to gain control of one of these monuments, and I think I'm going to, let's see. I'm kind of thinking, since I've already got these Ankh powers up here, I'm already ready to get these, and I have the followers that I need to pay for those. I'm kind of thinking, which ones might I want to open up here? And I really like having the pyramid power. Is that right? Yeah, I'll do this one.
I like that too.
So with the pyramid, later on I might be able to summon more followers. Summon more what? Figures. There we go.
Figures.
That's what I'm going to do. We're racing through this first round.
It figures.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Speaking of that, I need to get some Ankh powers unlocked. I'm scared, but I also really want to go ahead and take control of at least one monument on this side, so I can at least get some points over here whenever we do the epic battle. And I feel like we're gonna have to yell really loudly. I don't know if y'all can hear that on the screen. Wait, you don't hear it on the screen through the speakers. But there's some major construction going on.
I doubt they can hear it as much as we can.
Every time.
You're just drawing attention to it now. Now they're going to try to listen.
Well, I mean, it's like if I spit on your face and there's a little something on there.
Why would you spit on my face?
If I do, I tell you. I'm not one of those guys that's like, let's just pretend like it's not there. I go, hey, Dean, can you mind if I wipe that off your face?
I do, actually. Especially because you haven't actually spit on your face.
Okay.
You're just rubbing my beard. Oh.
So I'm going to summon another figure. And in this first region, I am winning 3-2. Now, that doesn't mean maybe a ton, because we can, you can change that with the cards here. Over here we're tied, so I think I'm going to summon one next to this guy, and the reason is because I'm going to be close to this obelisk, and I could jump back and forth between regions based on moving things around a little bit. Then I'm going to gain followers, and I'm going to gain 1, 2, 3, 4 followers. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got followers for days. And then I'm going to gain control of this pyramid down here because this slides up. So y'all, next time someone hits this end, they're going to start the battle.
That's right.
So for me, I'm glad I've gotten more monuments, but Dean has the Ankh powers going, so I think I've waited too long for the Ankh powers in this game. I'm usually like one of the ones that likes to race up those.
Yeah.
That's all right.
It's fine. I feel like I'm in a tough spot because John keeps gaining all the bonuses. I'm allowing that to happen. That's the actions that I'm picking are just kind of setting him up to be able to do that. But one thing I'm really eyeing is John has a ton of followers over there, which is not good. But I will
bring the plague of locusts upon you.
But I almost just want to keep moving up on that Ankh power track.
Just to block me.
Yeah, but at the same time, part of me wants to...
If he does that, then he's going to let me be able to set that off next round, too. So that's another thing he's got to, tactically, I guess, be thinking about. And I want to get that in his brain.
And you will do that. Oh,
I have no doubt about it.
Yeah, this is a tough position that I'm in. The other thing I'm thinking about, is John's special ability. John, why don't you go ahead and read your special ability, because that's going to make a difference in the decisions I make, too.
So when I mentioned a little bit earlier, but when I lose a battle, so I may purposely want to lose a battle so that I can place one of these on the board where one of my figures, so if I lose a battle and these guys die off, then I'll place that there. And then whenever I summon, I not only just summon one figure, but I can also summon another one onto that spot.
That's right.
So it's like the undead and really annoying, and they just keep coming back.
Yeah.
That's why. And so now I can summon next to this, and I can summon with this. I should have no problem getting figures on the board in this game.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
If I die.
So where do I want to try to lose the battle is what I'm considering. I would like to win a battle and lose a battle probably this next round. The reason why I might want to lose a battle is because I'm about to summon out my cats. Let me go ahead and do that. So summon figure action is the first one I'm going to take.
Okay.
And I will summon this figure, this cat mummy. And again, this is if this is killed, then all other players are going to lose one devotion. So John's going to lose a devotion. Now here's the thing. These are going to go in order. This is the first one that's going to take place. This one's the second one. If I were to place this right here, well, no, John, I would still...
Number one, you can't place it right there.
I'm sorry. Over on this territory is what I meant. I do think I'm going to do that, though, and I have to place it somewhere over in this area, so I'm going to place it right there. And if you can't see that, what is a...
I already showed it to them.
Pretty serious dudes there. Did you? All right. I should probably pay attention to what you're doing then.
Everyone's a mummy in this game, it feels like, huh?
And then what I'm going to do, I really would like to unlock Ankh power, but I don't want John to be able to do that. And so I'm going to force his hand a little bit. I'm going to do the gain follower action, and that's going to allow me to gain 1, 2, 3, 4 again because I get an additional 1. So now I have as much as him, And
Yep.
if he wants to get that bonus, he's going to have to summon a figure and just move and summon a figure. So you kind of force players to do things the way that you take your actions.
Yeah, and so like that's actually really coming into play at the moment because if I go up here and go up here is what I'm thinking about doing. Even though I have a ton of followers, I can force Dean into a me go, you go, me go.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to win 2 out of 3 of these. And what I would love to do is force Dean to just have to do that so I could take... Yeah, he's going to go there. He would win this one, which is going to give him a bonus if we tie.
Yeah.
Which can be powerful. I don't know if this early in the game,
It's probably not as important right now, but those tokens can be very important, especially in a higher player count.
Then it would mean that I divide up some stuff, which I don't mind, but I really like these monuments.
Yep.
But I think I'm going to force that. So I think I'm going to one more time gain 1, 2, 3, 4, just to make sure 4 more followers. You can't have hardly too many followers in this. Maybe you can.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But hey, I'm going to be able to just scorch up this Ankh track hopefully here in a minute. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go down here, and I will unlock my first ability, which is going to cost me 1 of those followers. Chicken feed. That's all that is.
What?
That's all it is. Okay, so I can win a battle, gain 3 followers, which I've got a lot of followers at the moment. These are all about followers here too, though. So monuments are going to cost me 0 to build instead of 3, which can be fairly significant. I like the ability that Dean has whenever you gain followers. With the gain followers action, you're going to gain 1, but I don't think I'm going to be taking that as much soon. Did I say that? Mm-hmm. Unless I may decide to take it anyways. At the start of conflict, I gain 1 for each region where I have figures, and I'm gonna take that one off the rip because I know I'll get 2 this first round, and then I'll get 3 the next one. 2, 3. Sure.
All right. You ready?
There we go.
You good to go?
I am good to go. I'm GTG, bro.
All right. I'm gonna take the. This is interesting now.
It's interesting because now all he'll be able to do is move figures, or he only gets 1 action.
I think I will move the figures, and that's going to trigger.
So it's going to be
bam,
Migo,
bam,
Migo,
bam.
Migo.
Yeah, it's going to be really triggering some stuff.
You
me. All right, I'm going to move this over here. I've had a change of heart. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Baby, don't.
I'm going to move my. Can I get him over here? 1, 2, 3.
Don't hurt me.
Okay.
No.
I'm going to 1, 2, 3. Should I move this over here?
Interesting what you're doing.
It is.
You're trying to win this and just go ahead and lose that and make me lose a devotion. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But I don't know if I can win this one. That's my problem. 1, 2, 3. I will do that. And then the second thing I'm going to do is... the reason why I did this, by the way, is because John still has a lot of more follower tokens, and there's a card where John can force all of my players to die, right? And if that happens, then
he still has his god.
I still have my god
never
over
dies.
here. That's right. So I feel pretty good about where I'm at with how all that's playing out. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I don't want to summon figures. I could gain followers. That would be helpful, but I think I'm actually just going to unlock my Ankh power and just not worry as much about what I have. So now that's going to cost me 2 followers. I'm going to unlock this one, and now
I was hoping you wouldn't do that.
This one is going to go right here. So I purposefully was trying to gain some of these pyramids out there. If I unlock my Pyramid Attune, that means whenever I summon figures, I can summon an additional figure next to one of my pyramids that I control. So that's it. We will trigger the battle round. So I'm going to take this token. Again, John's already mentioned this. But this token will give me 1 time if we tie. If you tie, it's kind of like Blood Rage, everybody dies, right? And nobody wins. But if I have this, I can win a tie 1 time per the conflict. So first off, we're going to be conflicting in here.
I already made 1 mistake.
And I'll go ahead and show you this. You've got these cards that show you the battle steps. I don't know if you want to pause that and look at it or whatever. We'll kind of go through those. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to select and reveal cards. And John, right off the bat, I am going to play 2 cards. So if you remember, may not have said this actually.
I don't know if you did. Yeah.
My special ability is that 1 time per conflict, I can play 2 cards instead of just 1. And I really want to try to win this if I can.
Okay.
Ooh, I don't know if I will. By the way, all of these are 1 power. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. John has 3. It's going to be tough for me to win this one anyway. I might just lose both of these, actually. But I will try my best, and that's all I can do, right?
I guess.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep. Flip them over. Oh, wow. I just wasted that then, didn't I?
Yep.
So next thing we're going to do, John played Build Monument. I also played Build Monument and Chariots, and we'll explain what that means. So in Phase 2, you're going to do the Build Monuments.
But you go first, right?
I do go first. You do this in lower devotion order, and I have the lowest devotion. So I'm going to, of course, build a pyramid because I just set myself up to be able to get bonuses by doing that. And again, this is in this territory.
Don't forget to pay your followers.
That's right. I don't have to, actually. My
you
monuments
unlock
cost
that.
0.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't get my special ability, by the way. At the start of the conflict, gain 1 for each. So instead of paying 3, I'm just going to pay 1.
Now, where you place it, you can place it anywhere in this area, but it kind of matters because although these territories are really big right now, as we place these camels out later on to cut these off, we're going to have more territories that we're going to be vying for. And I'll explain why I put this up here in just a minute.
Okay, so for him, yeah, I was going to build a pyramid so that I could cancel out his point that he would have gotten there. But that's okay. That's okay. So I am going to build another monument. Dean, hand me... Do you have some on my side? No. Hand me the temple, I guess. Is that what it's called?
I think it's a, temple? Palace?
Yeah, temple.
Is that right? Okay.
The reason is, one of the abilities that I can set off is each of my temples grants me +2 strength in a region if I have any of my figures adjacent to it.
Once he unlocks that,
So
that's
I've already got
huge,
this one, so I could have 4 strength starting off without even counting my figures in an area. So I like that. My battle back and forth right now is where do I want to put this? Because as Dean said, I'm going to have the ability, if I want, I will, to go ahead and siphon off an area. I can put all of my stuff into one area, but I don't think I want to do that. Or I could leave it wide open like I mentioned earlier, but I could. I mean, I could just go here and go, you know what? There's no way it's going to be really hard for you to beat me in that area the entire game.
That's right.
It's tempting, actually. But the negative is that I only gain a point per different type that I'm winning in. Meaning, I'm only going to get 2 points. But if I come down here, it could be worth 3 points after I siphon it off. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I think I'm just going to leave it right there.
That's exactly right. So both of us are planning for that. We're planning for this thing to be split right down the middle. Now, whoever takes that might come over here. They might cut somebody else off. Or, things might really change with that. But it's what we both have going on in our minds. I didn't mention this, but when you build monuments, you saw us do it. You actually immediately take control of it whenever you take the build monument action. So these cards are going to be discarded. You will not be able to get these cards back unless you play a card. I'll go ahead and show you that card so you just know that it's there. It's the this card that allows you to take cards back into your hands.
It's the
card, which is worth 0 for your battle total, but it's the only way that you can get cards back.
We put these cards back. We didn't even do the battle.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah. All right, so then we resolve the plague. Nobody played that card yet. That you might see that come into play because it's John's favorite card. Then
it's not my favorite.
Then you have the monument majority in this area. So we're going to look at all the different monuments for everyone that's active in this territory, which is both of us.
Dean gets 1 point for the pyramids. I get a point for the obelisk and the temple. So
that's right. So John's got 2. And again, this is the whole purpose of the game, is to move up the devotion track. Then we're going to do the battle resolution. So the player with the most strength wins, which is me.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
That's right. So I'm going to move up 1 here. And actually, when you do the monument majority, you're actually supposed to, which we did this, you go in reverse devotion order, and that can matter too. And then we're going
Actually, I'm glad that I didn't do... If I would have done the pyramid earlier, I said that I would have tied you, but I wouldn't have, because you could have spent your token to have beaten me.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
And so John's going to kill all of his players.
Which I'm okay with. I'm okay with. That was the one thing that... Because I left this guy over here so that at least I'd have somebody. Now that my characters are dead, I can get them on the board pretty easily. I place this in one of these spots. And And I'm going to place it here.
Yeah, almost doesn't matter, does it? But
it's not that big of a deal.
One thing to think about too, like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and say this, like thinking through a process. We like to show how we think through a process.
Nope, right here.
There's a card in here called the Drought. So this gives you one extra battle devotion, and then or battle point, whatever. Then your devotion reward is increased by 1 for each of your figures in the desert. So I've got 2 in the desert. Had I played this card instead of my chariot card, then I would have actually moved up 2 more spots because I have 2 characters in the desert. There's a lot of moments in this game where you're kicking yourself.
Yep.
All right, that is that one. Did I give myself my devotion?
Now, what Dean mentioned with the Plague of Locust, I'm just going to pull this card out because we may play it or we may not. But what happens is before the battle takes place, we actually bid followers. And whoever bids the most followers doesn't die. Everybody else besides their gods, all their characters die. So, like, that's a huge moment, can be a huge moment in the game.
Yeah.
Because over here, I'm like, Dean's probably thinking, John, there's no need for me to play the Plague of Locust right now. All it's going to do is kill off a guy. I mean, I guess I could, but it's probably not the best move. Now, he could do that for me. He could do that and try to wipe all my guys out, but I have way more of these than he does, so...
Had I not played my Chariots card, actually that would have made this more interesting because I would have had a chance to win this outright. But as it is, I will not, unless I win the Plague of Locusts, if that's played. So there's always a chance of winning, potentially, I guess.
Ready?
Not always. Yep. Flip it.
Talk about the Drought card.
There you go. You're going to really benefit from that. So nobody.
Well, this is where I like sat back and when I thought, I'll put a guy here because I can move him over, but now it's like kind of stings because I probably should have put him over there because I would have gotten an extra point.
Oh, right.
But I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I kind of did it a little earlier on, but anyways.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah.
Especially in this game. We'll talk about that later. Okay. So nobody did the Build Monuments card, so we don't do that. Nobody did the Resolve the Plague, or the Plague card, whatever. So then we'll do the Monument Majority here. John's going to get 1 for this, and I will get 1 for my Temple here. And then we're going to do the Battle Resolution. John has more than me, and what is your total? You got 4 total, and I've only got 1 total, so he's going to kill my guy.
So that's worth a point. My Drought card gives me 2 more points, but I lose a point because of Dean's cat mummy that made me lose a devotion.
That's right. That's right.
But one of the things I like about, like, I won't want to get too much in the gameplay, but I'll mention this probably when I give my thoughts of, like, you can kind of predict what other people are going to play a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because especially if I had a guy right there, Dean could be like, this dude's going to drought it. I know he's going to. And then Dean could say, let's wipe his guys out. Let me actually use the Plague of Locust right now because I don't want him to get 3 points.
That's right.
You know, so that's an interesting decision, too, when you're seeing how they're positioning their players.
That's right. And I totally forgot to resolve mine, but the miracle for every character that I have that's killed in that battle, I'm going to gain a devotion. This is one you really want to hold on to until you can lose like 3 or 4 players. So it's like a Loki strategy if you've ever played Blood Rage. But everybody's going to be doing all of these cards, and so you just have to play them at the right time. So I actually gain 1 for that. Yeah. So we're not too far off after this first.
No, let's just real quick. So you have the Battle Locust, the Chariots you saw Dean play gives you 3. This gets you all your cards back. You saw Miracle. I think the only one you didn't see is Flood.
Yeah.
And so that's just going to give you followers for how many people you have in the green, the fertile area. So if you see someone stacking up there, you're thinking, hey, there's a good chance they play Flood, which is worth 0.
That's right.
Everyone, as Dean said earlier, has the same cards. So I really like that about the game, but let's talk about that later.
Yeah, so I lose this conflict token that I gained for being the one that triggered the conflict, and then we're just going to continue on with the game. So like that's a little bit of a break during the game whenever you have that conflict. All right, so again, we're going to keep going, taking these actions, moving up this track. Now, the game end is going to trigger, again, I mentioned whenever you get to the top. Well, what if you don't reach the top, John? Well, when you get to the end of the game, then whoever has the highest amount of devotion is going to win. But there's 2...
You never have that happen, though.
No, usually you're going to make it up to the top. Okay, now, there's 2 spots on here I wanted to point out before we move on to Ardent Components. But the first one is the 3-player merge. We're going to talk about that in detail, about our feelings about that. But basically what happens in a 3-player or more game, in almost all the scenarios, you will merge 2 players together that are in the last place. So if on the devotion track, so the last 2 players in, let's say there's a player up here, John and I are here, John and I will merge. And what that means is we're going to be playing cooperatively against the other players at that point. And so we will take the devotion of the lowest player, but then basically everything else from the higher player. So basically we would say, okay, now we are the green player, and then we would take John's board that he has over here, so all the Ankh powers he has, I'm going to adjust my board to make it look like that. We're going to combine all of our follower tokens. We're going to combine we're going to use John's figures, but if I had any of these monsters, as long as we have bases for John, green bases that John has, we can keep those figures.
All your base belong to us.
That's right. All your base belong to you, John. And then you merge, and so we're going to be playing as that Osiris character and trying to win together. Then, after this battle right here, you're going to eliminate all the players that are in the red area. So there is player elimination, but you can see there's not much game left after that. And so if you're in the red, again, you're just out. If all the players are in the red when that happens...
We haven't had that happen yet.
No. We've come close. But if all players are in the red after that battle, then everybody loses, which is interesting.
I want to make mention that there is a power you can unlock, but you have to go all the way down to this third section. Yeah. That while you're in red, you actually gain an additional devotion every time you gain. So there is other things to kind of help push you out of that area. Anyways.
Yeah, and just to give you an idea, the Ankh power, so this first category all have to do with gaining followers. The second category all has to do with the different monuments that are out on the board. And the third category, like John said, is all about gaining devotion, because that's the point of the game. So you really want to try to screech up here if you can to gain those points.
I wanted to make one more quick mention that my next turn I would have been able to done this camel action. And so I would have placed these camels into these little spots here, and I can place these 4. And you do have to section off. Your sections have to have 6. Is that right? Hexes in them. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't just section off like a little small. And so now,
and you only have 6 camels to use.
That's right. And so if I have the 6 here, but I don't need to use those. So that becomes the third. Then I can actually flip flop an adjacent one, right, Dean?
Yep.
So I could change it like this, right?
Yeah.
So I could make this the one that we go for first. But yeah, and so there's that. There's 1, 2, 3 camels. So that's going to happen even 2 more times. So by the end of the game, we're going to have 2 more sections. So it really begins to get divided up and stuff.
That's right. And you actually, he did flip-flop these. You actually can, either one of the new territories that you have, you can use one of those to swap out with any other token on the board. Yeah. So I think that kind of gives a good gist of how the game plays out, right? I mean, again, you're just trying to gain devotion by winning these battles, and then other ways. Let's talk about the art and components.
I bet you're excited about that.
They're okay.
I'm excited about that.
They're okay.
They're fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, listen to John. John loves miniatures.
I'm telling you what. I'm not a big miniature guy. I'm not. But these are really good.
Yeah, that guy.
That's a beefy miniature. Like Dean had to work out to lift that up. To the camera.
This actually is really heavy.
They are. No, seriously. Like these are very heavy.
Yeah, that guy. He's a little something there. And there's 2. In the box, there are a total...
I'm scared of that guy. That's creepy right there.
There's a total of 6 different monsters in the box, but each monster has several miniatures that are going to come out. Because again, if we played 3-player game, we actually would have had 2 of each of those out there that you can gain control of.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. And then you've got 5 or 6 different characters in the box, something like that. And then just, lots of miniatures. So... That's it.
Let me make mention of the thing that I care about more than the miniatures actually is like just the straight up art on the board and stuff. I think this is some of the most fantastic. Like, I know it's nothing like, I think it's just so fantastic. It's nice and clean, and I love like in the sea, in the rivers, this like Egyptian feel to the art down here. I just think that when I look at just the player board and see the details, like the textures, it's not over the top. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't take away because it's stuff everywhere. It's not over the top, but it's almost like the perfect amount of textures and character. And that ship is really cool right there. And I just absolutely love this board. And I think the art and components are fantastic in this game.
Totally agree. Now, if you get the Kickstarter, everything's going to be plastic, but you don't need it. You know, that's the thing. You don't need plastic monument tokens. Just being able to have those on there. The thing I like, all the things John mentioned, I'm over the moon about too. I think it's fantastic. I love the art on the board and everything. I really like the ease of playability in this game too that comes from the graphic design. And I want to point out specifically in the action board. So everything is so clear on here. You know, if I move up here, I'm just going to take the action. Once I get over here, the white matches the white here so that it reminds you to move up on here. And you're just going to move it off to the side so that you know, and the arrow's pointing down. Do this, take this action, and then move it back up there. Everything just, I know that sounds so simple, but it's very clear. And then the same thing with the clarity of everything on the cards. I like the text that's written on the cards because if you just have symbols, it becomes confusing the first couple times that you play. The more that you play, you just you know what the cards do. There's only six different cards plus one for the one that gives you your cards back. So I love it. There's a lot of good stuff in this box.
But is the game fun to play?
Yep.
So gameplay?
Game is fun.
Okay.
It's good. Good game.
You going first?
Yeah. What do I like about the game? I like area control games, so go ahead and know that.
Dean, what do you like about the game?
My favorite game of all time is Blood Rage, and so anytime one comes out in this series, which I think it's done, and Rising Sun is like a top 20 game for me as well. So I love this style of game. So I already knew that I was going to like some pieces of this. So I like the area control. Probably my favorite thing, I'm just going to jump and say this. My favorite thing, I think, is the battle cards in this game. I'm going to leave that to John because I know he's going to talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
But I like the fact that you have the same cards, and so like there's no question about, you know that they're going to play one of those 7 cards, and I like that. I think that's simple, but the complexity that comes from which card to play is agonizing because you're like, oh, I really wish I would have played this card if I would have known they were going to play this one. I just wasted this one that I could have played later. Another thing that I really like is the action selection up there. I think it's a neat way to
I love it.
Play. I would say out of all the games, like Blood Rage, Rising Sun, and this one, I think Rising Sun has a really cool mechanism of picking your tiles, kind of like a Puerto Rico type game. But I still really like this one. And the tension that comes from, should I take this action? Because if I do, I'm going to set them up to be able to gain control of a monument. I love that tension. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. I'll talk about the battle system real quick as Dean teed me up to talk about. All right. I like the battle system in here better than Blood Rage personally. I haven't played Rising Sun, so I don't know. Now, it's an absolute personal taste. I think this is where Johnny Euro comes out, and I kind of like, and here's the thing about Blood Rage. No, I love Blood Rage. It's a fantastic game. You have no idea is not the right word. You have not... You really don't know what your opponent's going to play. Yeah. If you know the cards super well in Blood Rage, you know what can be drafted out. Mm-hmm. However, there's a lot to choose from. Yeah. So you could be, I'm going to play this +3, and you know the +4 or 5 exists, but you don't know if Dean took it or whatever. Here, you know exactly what cards your opponents have, and you know what they've played. And so, again, I love how you have that prediction piece where you see the players in the drought, and you go, okay, I'm pretty sure Dean's going to pick that. I'm going to do the Plague of Locusts this time. But then Dean goes, sucker, I didn't choose that this time. And you predicted wrong. Maybe he wants to throw you off. Maybe he's trying to position you to bite on that. But then he throws something else. And I think that's so fun. It's like that poker kind of going back and forth, trying to get in your opponent's head of what they're playing. I think they're going to do this, but I'm not sure they're going to do that. And I would say in our games, we can predict pretty well, right? There hasn't been a ton of moments of just, no, what?
You probably
but they exist.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But they exist.
I am terrible at predicting what other players are going to play, which is bad for this game.
But I love the battle system. Love the Concordia piece where you have to play a card with +0 to pick up all your other cards. When to play that is hugely important in the game.
Yeah. I really... Overall, I like how the monsters work. In all of these games that we've mentioned, the monsters aren't really overpowered in any of them, right? And I kind of like that because
I do too.
You look at them and you think, "Oh, I want that thing that's
that's
as big as my god." Like
it's worth huge. 1 point.
Yeah, it's just worth 1 point, like everything else, and they all have special abilities, which is beneficial. Like this cat mummy is nice because if I know that I'm going to lose the territory, I can drop it in there. it dies.
So I don't gain the point, basically, for beating him.
That's exactly right. It just dies, and then I'm going to make everyone lose a devotion, which is really nice in a higher player count game.
Yeah.
But it's not game-breaking, right? It's not any more game-breaking than playing like a drought card or something like that. There's lots of cards that are just as powerful as the monsters are, and I like that. I think it's cool that you have these for variability, but it doesn't break the game.
No, and it also has that like a little bit of a race element to like, man, I don't think I can give Dean all 3 of those because there's a lot of special abilities that he's going to have at that point. Like right now, I'm in this game, I feel good about where I'm at except for that piece to it. So yeah, but I also really like about this game, like Blood Rage is a bloodbath, and I think that's fun, and I love to play it. But this has a lot of really, and Blood Rage does too, but there's a lot of really interesting tactical decisions, and like I like how you don't just score points for wiping people out, that you score points with the monuments, right? Which is another thing where you can unlock these abilities where there's other ways for you to score points, and I think that's really fun because I could lose a lot of battles but dominate the monuments, and Dean might have a hard time winning the game because I just keep scoring points. When to make the decisions of how to divide up the land so that I score the most points in a certain section, that's really, really fun. And it just has these really, to me, like thematic but super Euro-y mechanic vibes that I really like in the game a lot.
Yeah, and you have to, which all these games like this you have to do. A lot of area control games you need to pay attention to what the other players are doing. One big way of doing that is the follower tokens, which at first seem like they're not that big of a deal, because you're thinking, okay, I'm going to use these to spend to unlock these, and then every once in a while for the Plague of Locust. Well, that's a big deal, right? You have to have a lot of followers because what happens is John has a ton more followers than I do right now. He has total control of what's going to happen in one of those battles because I know that he has the Plague of Locust. Yep. So I have to plan for that either by putting more followers here or working out the territory so that it wouldn't matter if John kills everyone off. But oftentimes you really want to try to keep up with the followers. And I think that's cool. It's similar to like Rising Sun where you have to have coins for the battle system there. It's similar to that, but it's still different enough that it's not like a game breaker, but it's important.
Yeah. So this is what I'm going to say this. There's so many elements of this game that I seriously, I love. Mm-hmm. Dean, do you like butts?
What?
Because I'm about to drop a giant butt in the middle of this table right now.
Oh my goodness gracious. Nope, not that butt. One T.
Dean mentioned, this is a giant butt. Dean mentioned this part of the game, the 3+ player merge to 2 gods. Now this is a personal taste thing, right? There are going to be people, and I know that there are, that really enjoy this piece. I thought, that sounds so cool. Like, someone's going to have the lead, and then 2 players are going to get to merge together and really just strategize against the other player. It just seems different, and I'm really excited about it. But when I played it, I hated it pretty much. And let me, and this is again, I want to tell you why, so that you can say, who cares, John? I don't care about that, because you might not. But I do know there are a lot of people that hate this, and I hated it before I read that other people hated it. But there are people that do really like it. So this is what I don't like about it. Number one, if you are in 3rd place, and if you're playing a 5-player game, there could be 2 merges, right? Yeah. So I'm just...
Well, there's one scenario where you have a double merge,
Here's what I don't like about it. Number one, if you're in last place, then every single player of yours is wiped off the board. Mm-hmm. All your monuments,
monuments, everything
are gone.
Everything, yeah.
The only thing that you keep are your followers that you share, and that's just personally hugely disappointing. Like, I hate going through, what is this, 60% of the game, something like that, 60-something%, 2/3 of the game maybe, and like doing a lot of stuff, and then like you just lost everything that you did. Now, some of you won't care because you'll be like, that's fine. The other thing that happens that I don't like, we don't have another token, so let's just pretend like someone was up here.
Yeah.
Is, let's just say that the merge happens right here. Not only does red player, everything gets wiped off the board, but then your devotion goes all the way back to last place. So if the last place player just dropped a giant deuce in this game, I'm just being real, you are penalized for it. Even if you were right here, 1 point behind first place.
Or if you were there, even if you were on the same spot, if you're still the lower devotion because you're in that spot.
Now, there's obviously a bonus to being together is that you both have your player abilities. But wow, if you're way behind, that's going to be very difficult to catch up with. And then the last thing that I don't like about it is simply that I think it causes more AP potentially, because now you have Dean sitting over here on the table, and now, this happened. My wife and I are sitting here strategizing. It's very hard. We have to kind of talk through all these different pieces, which was taking a while. But plus, it's tough to do it without speaking it out loud. Mm-hmm. So, I can point at cards and stuff for kind of go like this. Or, you could just say, forget that. You're not going to strategize together. But that would be hard. That would be hard. And so Dean's sitting back there listening to our strategies. And it's just taking a while for us to take our turn because we're trying to get kind of on the same page of what we're doing here. For all those reasons, if this was a variant, this game would be very highly rated for me. It's not a variant, so I'm going to have to rate it based on the rules of the game. And I love everything about the game, and I hate that.
Okay. Let me point out a couple positives that you might like. I don't hate it as much as John. It's not my favorite for sure, but I kind of like it with the right people. Now, the positives.
With the right people, it could be fun.
Yeah.
If me and you teamed up against somebody, we could hoot and holler and have a good time. Absolutely agree with that.
You mentioned it's really difficult to catch up at that point.
If you have a bad person. It could be like this.
That's right. And even if it's this, you can still catch up, because here's the thing. You have benefits, and they're huge benefits in this game.
Huge.
You mentioned your god characters. You keep both of those abilities, which is huge. If John has this one where we're gaining this, and then I also am able to play 2 battle cards, that's significantly better than the other player. But on top of that, we mentioned that your turn is done whenever you take that action right there. Even if you only take 1 action, you're done, okay? If we merge, we're only going to be taking 1 action apiece, but if I take an action right here, I'm done with my turn, but then John takes his action, and he's there. So you're gaining more benefits that way, too. So there's benefits, and it's not like you're just completely out of the game. The things that you're talking about, I totally agree with that.
That's one of the reasons I don't love it, is because when the merge happens, it's such drastically different scenarios if I'm here or if I'm right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That can be really crappy, potentially, for that first player to go, wow, these guys have merged, and now I'm just 1 point ahead.
Could be.
That's going to be really hard for me to beat them, because now they have, what you just said, these player powers. So those are the things that I just go, oh, I wanted to like it.
Yeah.
But go ahead, sorry.
No. I was just going to say it could be that scenario for sure. But it adds a tension there that I think is interesting. It does add oh my goodness, this person's gaining on me. I need to hurry up and screech up this track, and I really enjoyed that piece of it.
So 2/3 through the game, you have this really interesting tension. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So I think that's cool too. Oh, and let me go ahead and mention this. So the player elimination part, I don't think is as big of a deal. If you're in the red area, everyone else is in the blue, you get eliminated.
I don't care about that.
Honestly, that kind of speeds up the game a little bit, because if you're that far down, you might not be able to make up the difference.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Unless everyone was right here and you're right there, but that's probably not going to happen at that point in the game. We haven't experienced that.
That's right. So, it could be the case, but again, there's not enough time. So that part doesn't bother me in the least bit. Now, you mentioned if that part was a variant. Now, what if they made a variant, an official variant that said, now every time you play with this variant, you don't have the merge at all?
So first, I want to say this: there is a scenario where that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
We need to make that. So there's 10 scenarios. One of the scenarios you don't do that. If they made
but it does change other rules besides that. Yeah. So you don't do the merge, and this is just a 2 to 4 player game, so it's not meant for a 5 player game. But they changed the rules on top of that. So what if it was just a variant where it just changed?
My score would be very high.
Okay.
Very high. And let's go to the final thoughts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. For those who skip to the final thoughts, there's so much I love about this game. I love the way the battle cards play. I love the decisions about monuments and the way you score points multiple ways. I like the Ankh powers, the way that the action system works there's so many great things about this game, but as I mentioned in the gameplay, if you listened, I hate the 3-player plus merge. That's a personal taste. Don't get all mad and say I'm wrong. It's just personal. I don't like it at all. And if you go back to the gameplay, you can listen to why, very specifically, I don't like that. Because this is... Okay, I'm going to go to Dean's question he asked. Without that, this game would be an 8.5 or 9. I love it. And let me give you one of the main reasons why. What an amazing area majority game with 2 players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
There's not that many, there's hardly any out there that I enjoy playing because of all the different tactical and strategic decisions that you have to make, and you're not just wiping off other players, and now they have no one on the board, and now they're messed up.
Yeah.
It's not, you still have your monuments. You have these other ways to score points. I love it. But if I'm strictly saying this is the game that, with the designer rules, right? That's how I'm going to rate this game. Now, I can play this game. I can go buy this game and just never play the Merge God rules. Or if I have, as Dean said, the right fun group of people, and I think it would be fun to do it, we could do that. I'm going to give this a 7.5 because I'm usually willing to play it, which is a 7. At 8, I'm not going to suggest it because I hate that rule and it's annoying. If we decide as a group of people to just say, forget that rule, this is like an 8.5 or a 9, and would be one of, if not my favorite games so far this year. Probably would be.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they come back out with that and they change some things, then I'll be happy to go back and rate this and change my rating. But I feel like I have to rate the game based on what the actual rule book says.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we all do.
So
right?
7.5 for me. I would love to give it almost a 9. That's how bad I don't like one rule.
Yeah. For me, I still really enjoy the game, even with that. I think in the right scenario. Now, in a 3-player game, I don't want it there at all. In a 5-player game, and I have not played this at 5 yet, but in a 5-player game, I could see that being a lot more fun with the right people. And those right people have to be ones that don't mind, like, I just got everything destroyed, and I have to kind of restart with this other person. I don't mind that. I think it's kind of cool. And actually, when we did play it, it added another layer of tension with before the merge happens, because you have this table talk like, hey, we're probably going to be in last place. We're going to merge together, so let's kind of work this out.
And then Dean does that, and then he stabs you in the back.
I totally do. That's one of my best moments in gaming.
It was hilarious.
I told John, hey, let's go ahead and team up because the 3rd player is so far ahead of us, we're never going to be able to catch up. And so I convinced John to not gain any points and gain a few points, but not gain a lot of bonuses. I didn't know that I could do this, but I screeched past that first player, and then
my
they
wife
had
and
to go
I
all the
were
way
back.
That's a fun piece of the game.
Oh, that was cool.
That's a really neat.
Leading up to it was fun. It was just after it happened, the gameplay just went flat, really flat for me.
And if you're playing with somebody who does not absolutely hates it, it's going to make it less fun. I'm not pointing you know what I mean. But
and you also have that.
Not everyone's going to have as much fun.
I don't mean to, but you also have the thing where that when you're playing if you don't like cooperative games, or you have someone that's that type A personality that's going to dominate you, you're going to hate that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm playing with my wife, and she tends to be a person that just kind of rolls over. That's why she doesn't like cooperating. No, John, I think you have, you know what I mean? Yeah, you have the right. And I hate that. And so I'm playing and not having that much fun because I'm kind of like, do I share this? Do I not? Because I don't want her to feel like that. She's, and so.
Which again is why I have that caveat.
With the right players.
It
could be really fun.
It is still fun. So for me, I'm going to give this 8.5. And I probably am in the same position as John. If that was a variant, I would probably have this at a 9. And even if they come back and say, hey, this is an official variant, which sounds silly, but I need to be able to rate this on the rules that they have to be completely transparent about it. If that is a variant where that's not in there, I would be at a 9 on this, I think.
And I would be an 8.5 or 9.
Yeah. So I'm not quite coming down as much because I don't hate it as much as John does, but it's still not my favorite. Great game for me. I still really enjoy it. So that's an 8.5 for me. That's a 7.5 from John. Tell people how they can get in touch with us.
If you're enjoying our channel, we would love for you to subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support what we're doing, go to patreon.com/Meepletown or at Meepletown Games on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And we're Board Game Geek Guild 3407.
Thanks for coming down to Meepletown.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks to our Patreon supporters for making content like this possible. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, go to patreon.com/Meepletown. To follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, find us at Meepletown Games. Finally, to connect with us and other residents of Mapletown, you can join Guild 3407 at BoardGameGeek.com. Until next time, thanks for coming down to Mapletown.